Hello and welcome to another episode of GVTV. I'm Teresa Jafari. Did you know that gymnastics comprises of 8 different unique compartments? In this episode, we'll be focusing on the tumbling and trampolines Victorian Championships held at the BTYC in August. We also speak with Jarrod Heriot, coach from CYC, who gives us some tips on the world of trampolines, including some lessons for those who want to give it a go. We had the Acrobatics Gymnastics 2012 Victorian Championships and State Pennant and Australia Showdown held at the MSAC in Albert Park, also in August. And last but not least, we speak to Jasmine Mika, who gives us an insight into the world of acrobatics and also tells us how her girls went at the Nationals in May. So for all this and more, and the highlights, of course, details on the winners, stay tuned. Welcome to the men and women's trampoline events. This is Hayden Woodfall from CYC competing in the senior men trampoline.
This is Hayden's first routine, his set routine, which will combine some difficulty elements. He has 2 difficulty elements to do, combined with some easy skills and working on. The majority of the score is made up of form, and then he's got those 2 harder elements in there that give him some difficulty. He'll be also scored on his time of flight, which is the height the athletes get in the air. And his second difficulty skill there, it's a full twisting double back in the pike position. So it's a good routine. He just had a bit of a split with the legs, but otherwise a nice solid effort. You can see his opening skill there, which is a 1.5 twisting double front salt, which was Hayden's first difficulty skill, and I think he's pretty happy with that routine.
Well, that routine placed him second overall with a final score of 120.129. And this is Glenn Joustra from OTC, competing in the senior men's trampoline again. Tell us a bit about this routine.
This is Glenn's second routine, so he's already completed a really strong set routine. This is his voluntary routine. So this routine will be seeing a lot harder elements. He'll be combining double somersaults, and he'll be actually starting with a triple somersault. It's the first triple we'll see today. And here is 1, 2, 3 somersaults, followed by a full twisting double back. He's just struggling to keep that height at the moment. He's pushed that one a little bit long, and onto the flyaway or the end deck there. So that is the end of Glenn's routine. You just see he lost that control, and as soon as they hit the end deck there, that's the end of the routine for them. No second chances in trampolining.
Nonetheless, Glenn placed third with a final score of 102.551. Moving on to the senior women's trampoline, this is Emily O'Connor.
Emily O'Connor is the current junior national champion, and she stepped up into senior for the first time. This is her second routine, her voluntary routine, and they'll be combining the double somersaults, as you can see here, with some of her more easier skills.
Can you explain voluntary routine as opposed to?
Sure. They do a set routine, which is everyone does their first routine, which is an easier routine, and then the voluntary routine, which Emily's doing now, there's more difficulty in it, and in juniors and below, there's no difficulty in these set routines, only in the voluntary routines. So that's where they get those additional points.
Additional points, I understand. Well, Emily placed first with a final score of 133.560, so excellent. Next, Georgia McMahon, competing in the junior women's trampoline from CYC. It's another good performance.
So Georgia's now competing her second routine, her voluntary routine. So again, using all those difficulty elements, opening up with a 1.5 twisting double front. All double somersaults so far, just using some form skills through the middle, and then finishing here with 4 double somersaults, a full twisting double back, and a double back in the pike position to finish off with. Nice routine from Georgia as well.
Absolutely, and got her in first place with a final score of 133.205. We're moving on to the men's double mini trampoline, the under 11s to be specific, and this is Troy Sutton.
Troy's fairly new to the sport. In the double mini, they have to complete 2 skills, one on the double mini, and that's the straddle jump there, and then a Barani off the double mini, which is a front somersault with a half turn. So there's 2 skills that they need to complete, and they have to try and land in that box for bonus points. If they step outside that, then there's a deduction.
Taj Bailey coming in again with the under 11 men's double mini trampoline.
So 2 good skills there from Taj. His first skill was a back somersault, followed by a 1.5 twisting front somersault.
And finally we have Jordan McNamara from the junior men's double mini trampoline.
So 2 double somersaults from Jordan then. We saw a double back on the double mini and a double front with a half turn off. So that was a good strong pass and a beautiful landing inside that box as well. Nice and solid.
Well, that got him in first place with a final score of 132.533. And Taj coming in at first place as well for the under 11s at 119.767. And Troy placing third with a final overall score of 116.100. We're moving on again to the under 11s women's tumbling. And this is Kate Evans from BTYC.
In this event, the gymnasts need to complete 5 skills in their tumbling pass. So there's a round off, 3 flips, and finishing with a backside at the end there. Nice, strong routine from Kate.
And this is Billy Joe Selleck from BTYC again, once more from the under 11s women's tumbling.
Starting with the round off, there's those 3 flips, and finishing with a full twisting backside on the end there. So a little bit more difficult in that pass. A nice, strong routine. I think she seems fairly happy.
And finally, we have Hayley Wellard from the senior women's tumbling, also from BTYC.
Hayley's 5 skill pass, finishing with a double back in the pike position there. See a nice, strong routine, working through whips and finishing with that big, strong double back pike at the end.
And the final score for the under 11 women's tumbling, Billy Joe Selleck placed first with 83.8 as her final score, and Kate Evans placed second with 76.3. And in the senior women's tumbling, Hayley Wellard placed first with a total score of 84.2. We're here at CYC chatting to Jarrod Heriot, who's the centre manager and one of the senior coaches. So Jarrod, out of all the apparatuses available in gymnastics, why trampolining?
It all started, we had a trampoline in the backyard, then we started doing skills and scared mum and dad. So they took us along to a trampoline club where we started to learn more difficult skills and started competing, and then got into coaching from there. And yeah, that was 20 years ago, but yeah, still doing it now.
Wow, so having 20 years experience, if there was something you could change about the sport, what would that be?
In 2000 we became Olympic, which was a great step for us in the right direction. And I think now it's just a matter of us still trying to lift the profile of trampolining. Everyone has a trampoline in the backyard, but we're still not one of those sports with a high profile. So that's for me, is one of the goals of the future.
Up next, Jarrod Heriot gives us some lessons. We have highlights from the trampolining at the BTYC, and don't go anywhere because we have the Acrobatics Gymnastics 2012 Victorian Championships held at the MSAC in August.